Hey you, thank you so much for tuning in to watch my channel. My name is Eva. I'm an intuitive healer. I work with two modalities. One which is based on working with Akashic Records. It's called Soul Realignment. And the next one is about rewiring your nervous system. It's called Quantum Flow, which basically utilizes the techniques of sound, breathwork, and movement to just help you rewire your nervous system. So I'm going to be explaining more on that at the end of this live. So make sure you tune in until the end of the video to actually see how you can get to work with me. But thank you so much for tuning in. Okay. So today I'm going to start the live by sharing my lesson for the week, a beautiful reminder that I had from one of the podcasts I was listening to. And the reminder was that what every one of us is actually seeking is God. We try to find God through different things in the external world, right? We try to find, that sense of connection, of happiness, of joy, which is just essentially behind all of that. The root of what we're actually looking for is God, but most people tend to confuse that with the desire for all these things in their external reality. The house, the partner, the relationships, the career that we love. But in essence, what we are actually looking for is God. Okay. And this is why a lot of the spiritual masters say that true happiness only you only find true happiness when you go within, because that's where God is. God is always with you, always within you. And you cannot discover God in all of these things in the external world. You can only discover God by going inside. And that is actually the true essence of what happiness and true fulfillment actually is. But most people don't know that. So when they have this deep desire that I'll only be happy or I'll only find joy when I do this, when I have this kind of partner, when I have this kind of things in the external reality, in essence, because you find that most people, once they manifest that, that sense of inner peace, of inner joy, of inner happiness, of purpose, true fulfillment, it doesn't get fulfilled from having all these things in the external reality. Okay. It only gets you only connect to that true essence whenever you connect to your true self, your spirit, and your spirit is an extension of God. So that was a beautiful reminder that whatever it is that you're searching for, if you can actually make your priority in life just to connect with your true self, your true spirit, to connect with God, then everything else tends to flow from that, because literally God is everywhere. God is in everything that is in your external reality. God is with you, within you. So connect to God, connect to that essence, and then let me know if you actually get to find your sense of fulfillment, your sense of happiness, true happiness, right? Okay, so that was my lesson for this week, and I'd love to know what your lesson for the week is. So if you're watching this later on, whatever day you're tuning in to watch, please share in the comments and let's learn from each other. I've shared mine, so I'd love to hear from you and learn from you as well. Okay, so we're here to just learn and grow with each other and evolve with each other. And we can only do that when you're sharing the different perspectives and really helping each other to expand our view of our external reality. Okay. So today I want to talk about that relationship itself. I know I've spoken about this on my channel, but I believe that this is a topic that cannot be exhausted because a lot of people need a reminder of this, that the most important relationship is literally the relationship with yourself. Okay, with your true self, not your physical reality, because this is where most people focus on what people see on the external, your hair, your color, I don't care. No, your true self, your relationship with your inner spirit, your higher self, your soul. That's the most important relationship, because from that is what creates everything else in the external world. That is actually what informs your external relationships. And most people don't know this. Okay. So you can find someone spending their entire life looking for love in someone else. My mother didn't love me enough. My father didn't love me enough. My children don't love me enough. My spouse don't love me enough. So they're always searching and searching and searching, trying to fill this hole inside of themselves and thinking that they can only get that hole filled by someone outside of themselves. And that usually never happens, Because guess what? The person you're trying to get that love from is also struggling probably with that kind of emptiness, unless you're actually dating someone who's fully fulfilled and fully in themselves. And I suspect that if you're watching me, chances are you are not. Okay. The relationship you have with yourself literally informs the relationships you have with others. If you cannot tap into true love and acceptance of yourself, it's impossible for you to extend the same love and acceptance to others. I know when you meet our potential romantic relationship, the initial action, that initial attraction that you don't even get to see what anything wrong that they do, that phrase love is blind, that you cannot see their wrongs until you're really in it. And then now you start noticing the red flags when it's already too late, when you've already given your heart to this person. But the thing is, that even in that, okay, like I was saying earlier, most people tend to get into relationships or situationships expecting the other person to feel this pull inside of them. But if they don't have this love to extend, guess what? Yes, they're going to have that initial infatuation, that initial attraction, that initial chemistry, but that is not sustainable because at some point, that wound inside of you, it's going to come out. Okay, and you're trying to use a band-aid solution. I call them band-aid solution because they're temporary. You're trying to use a band-aid solution to fix a very infested wound, right? And that band-aids don't work with that because the wound will keep on festering and festering and festering. And before you realize it, it's too late. No, you're having now to amputate some part of yourself that was unnecessary had you actually found the root, so the root cause of it, and actually found a solution for that instead of using the band-aid, which is in finding the love that you're seeking for yourself in another person. It never works. And if this person is also empty, guess what? It's gonna be a mesh of chaos later on, and that's not what you want. Okay, if you can truly learn to love and accept yourself as you are, not needing anyone outside of you to tell you who you are, to tell you what you're about or what you should do or how you should act, then this neediness to be accepted by the world around you will also essentially stop. The world we live in, okay, I'm sure you've seen these clips of people, the whole us versus their mentality with feminism, with masculinity, and there's a faction. Like there's always a faction of our beliefs are this is the right way, this is the wrong way, and all of that. And it's always creating an environment of each faction attacking each other. Everyone believing that they're right, and everyone trying to pull as many people into their own reality to accept their own beliefs. Even that, the minute you have this sense of love and acceptance for self, you will not need someone else to tell you what you're supposed to do, that this is how a woman or a man should act. You will tell yourself, this is how I act, because you have deep acceptance of self that even when I make a mistake, it doesn't matter. I'm still learning, I'm still growing. Because love and acceptance also grows with the times that you mess up, and everyone always messes up. Most people get stuck on the shame and guilt aspect, and they're never able to move on from their past mistake. So they keep on reliving their past mistakes. And I'll actually share an example because there's something that I did earlier this month. It was so weird because it was so I was hosting a live, okay? I was hosting a live, we were meditating together with the group. And I felt like I didn't do my best in that session. That always comes up, right? But for some reason, my whole issue with that was I perceived that the people who were receiving whatever I was sharing in that call didn't receive it nicely. So from that day until now, I've been in such judgment. Not until now, because I released it eventually, but for some time I was in such judgment of myself because of that one mistake that I perceived. Not that anyone actually came and told me that, hey, I didn't like what you said and all of this. This was literally me judging myself for something that I perceived I did wrong in the call. And I could have easily gotten stuck in that and not able to host future calls because I perceived I made a mistake. But I had to go within myself and really confront that and show love and compassion to myself and say, like, okay, fine, I recognize maybe something I might have said, maybe something I might have done in that call didn't resonate or didn't have the desired effect, but I forgive myself for that. Next time, now I know better. I'm not going to repeat the same mistake. Most people are not able to do that. And if you cannot have that sense of compassion that even when you make mistakes, even when you fail, love and accept yourself unconditionally, how on earth are you ever going to extend the same love and compassion to the people around you? So now when your spouse messes up, when your child messes up, it becomes a whole issue because in your mind you're like, you are supposed to be doing this. I expect you, I've given you a list of rules and a set of things that you're supposed to follow. And once you fall short of that, then it's a whole big issue. I'm angry with you for the next 1 month. You've heard of relationships where people give each other silent treatment for days, for weeks, and you're living in the same house, literally sleeping next to each other, but you're not talking to each other. That's crazy. Okay. I'm not saying that once in a while you won't engage in that because at the end of it all, you're still human. So when you find yourself being human and making mistakes, first forgive yourself. And if you can really do that, then when someone messes up outside of you, it's easy for you to let go of that and forgive them for their mistakes because you'll also see the human in them. So at the end of it all, if I cannot offer that and extend that love and compassion for self, I cannot extend it to others. And that also impacts your relationship with something bigger than yourself, your higher self, your divine guidance. So it also impacts that relationship because if you can't even build or see the magnificence within you, it's impossible for you to trust that there is a higher power outside of you that loves and accepts you unconditionally. Which, by the way, I'm reading this book, Conversations with God. Brilliant, brilliant book. I just started it. It actually highlights one of the conversations he was having with. So in the book, he says he was conversing with God. Um, God tells him that we have all been trained to love conditionally, even with our parents, from our primary caregivers, whoever that was for you. Probably there are certain conditions that were put in place. Essentially, it's supposed to be unconditional that even when I mess up, love me unconditionally. But that's really not a concept that a lot of humans really understand. So we put conditions on the people we love. When your child messes up or goes against your rules, it becomes such a huge issue. You make them feel bad, you shame them, you judge them, you punish them, and all of that. Instead of really seeing that it's a child, it's my child, okay? And they're allowed to make mistakes. So I'm not gonna expect perfection from them, which is where a lot of parents, I would say, like a lot of people struggle with, right? That I need my child to be waking up at this time, to be doing this, not to interact with certain people. And the minute they go against that, it becomes a whole issue. So we've been taught to condition the love that we give to each other, to our most loved and precious people around us. That's how we've been taught. I don't want to say it's anyone's fault, but it's a society thing, right? So when you have that kind of a conditional love with each other, it's impossible for you to actually understand what true unconditional love is. And this is the love that your creator has for you. Source, your divine guidance, your higher self. Most people can't conceptualize that because they can't see that or have that kind of a conditional acceptance with themselves. So do you see now that the relationship you have with yourself impacts everything outside of you? Every single relationship you have outside of you. So if you want to change the kind of relationships that you have, start with yourself. Start by forgiving yourself. Start by loving yourself. Start by accepting yourself for who you are and allow yourself to mess up. Okay? Just aim to do better the next time. The most important thing is that you grow and evolve from whatever mistakes you make. No one can be perfect. Maybe there are people who are perfect. I haven't met them yet. But as long as you're a human being in this reality, perfection is something you gotta let go of. It's an impossible thing. We set those conditions in our mind, and once we fail them, it just stagnant. Most people get stagnant just from one simple mistake they made in the past, instead of actually focusing on how can I be better? How can I learn? How can I grow? How can I evolve from this mistake? Which is essentially what mistakes are there for, to help us grow, to help us evolve. But again, you have to develop that within you. And once you actually hack that, then everyone else outside of you, even when they mess up, and they will mess up because they're human, it's easy for you to extend the love and unconditional acceptance for self. Maybe it might be difficult depending on the level of betrayal or the level of hurt that they've actually done to you, but not impossible. The thing that I've learned about forgiveness is that it's not a one-time thing. Like I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna meditate and then boom, I release my feelings. It's a process and it's different for all of us. For some people, one thing it might be very easy to let go and forgive someone for their betrayal, but for another, it may take them years, it may take them months, weeks, whatever. There is no set duration, but the most important thing is that you're intentioning to do that. And whatever that process is for you, honor that because we can't all be the same. I can't dictate to you that, okay, now your partner betrayed you. So that will take like a month to forgive or 2 days to forgive and then move on. No, it all depends with you and what you're willing to release within yourself. So when it comes to forgiveness of self, remember whatever mistake you made in the past, it does not matter. It only matters what you're doing. Starting right now at this very moment, aim to be better. Forgive yourself for that and really cultivate that anytime you make a mistake, love and accept yourself. Have a forgiveness practice for yourself. I remember when I started my healing journey, this was actually one of the most powerful um, lessons that I could tap into, and that was for forgiveness. Okay, forgiveness of self. And once I started doing that, I kid you not, my external reality just started shifting. People were getting moved in the most weird circumstances, impossible circumstances at that time. Guys were just being moved all around me because now all of a sudden, because I had changed the relationship with me, the external reality had to mirror that for me. So all those people who were resonating with the old version of me, they had to get moved. And I was brought for people who were resonating with the new me that I was becoming. So it's not like I was doing anything extraordinary on the outside or trying to move any chess pieces on the outside. I was just working on myself, forgiving myself, and then extending that to the people around me. And once I started doing that, my external reality started shifting. And that's the power that you have within you. So if you have those kind of relationships or you're thinking like, how do I fix this? Start by fixing yourself and then see what happens. Because I kid you not, your external reality will always, always mirror your internal reality. That will never change. Okay. I had a beautiful quote from, not quote, but a clip from Bashar. So Bashar is a channel being by a man called Daryl Anka. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful channeling. If you want to learn more, just go Google that person on YouTube, ton of videos. The clip that I watched yesterday, he was saying that he was again giving a beautiful analogy of when you're looking in the mirror and you're seeing the image of yourself in the mirror frown. How do you change that? Do you go to the mirror and say, you have to smile, you have to show me happiness, and yet you're the source of that reflection? So the reflection can't change until you yourself start smiling. And it's a beautiful, beautiful analogy that you can take with you in your day-to-day operations. That if you see things on the external reality that you don't like, guess what? They are mirroring who you are. And you can't force those things to change. Same way you can't change a reflection until you change yourself. You don't like what you see, go change yourself. Go change your outfit, smile. I don't care what it is. But once you do that, then the image in the mirror changes. So if your external reality mirrors who you are, guess what? Do you don't like it? Go change yourself. Okay, don't go to and put conditions in the external reality because it's impossible for that to happen. So have that analogy in your mind that anytime you see something or someone you don't like, always look at them as a reflection of something within you that you need to fix within yourself so that you can change that mirrored external reality for yourself. Okay, so I'd love to know your thoughts on this. So share with me down in the comments. If you love my share today, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And do make sure that you subscribe and support my channel. I do love your support and I appreciate it so much. And please join me live next time. I'm trying to switch the time, so I don't know if I'm gonna be going live at this point, but we'll see how that goes. Okay. And hopefully you'll be able to join me live. So make sure when you subscribe, you also click on the notification button so that you might be getting alerts of any post, any time I go live, and we can get to catch up with each other live. Okay. So thank you so much for tuning in. I did promise I was gonna share a bit about my work and how I can actually help you develop and cultivate this deep love and acceptance for yourself. So I do work with two modalities. One, which is based on working with the Akashic Records. So for anyone who might not know what the Akashic Records, it's an energetic library of all souls, all decisions, all the lessons, all the choices that you made in your past life and even currently, and even potential futures are hosted in the Akashic Records. I like equating them to the Google of souls. So if you can Google anything and everything about any soul that is in existence in the Akashic Records. So what I do with this modality called soul alignment is we get to connect with the real version of your soul. Who are you really? Because most people tend to just look at the physical experience. My name is this. I'm from here. I'm from this country. This. Um, I'm from this race, I'm from this tribe, and all of that. And that really isn't who you are because at the end of it all, once you transition to the other side, guess what? You get to leave all these things in external reality. It's so relevant to actually connecting you to your true essence, your soul being. Okay? Because once you understand who you were designed to be by God, by Source, then you develop this sense of acceptance. Now you're no longer looking at the external or the people outside of you to tell you who you are. You already have that deep sense of who you are. This is who I'm designed to be, and everyone is designed uniquely. Each of us has particular soul level gifts that Source gave to us that we need to leverage to create a better human experience. In the world we live in, where there is a ton of information online, a ton of ideas, a ton of ways that you can achieve success and happiness for yourself. There's a ton of them, and most people get so confused because they're like, oh, this worked for this person, so maybe I should try that. And then you try that, and then you find that it didn't work as well for you as it did for the other person. If that person is tapped into who they are at soul level, that's how they're able to create those beautiful results for themselves on the outside. And I'm not just talking about the internet, even with the people around you. Once people are fully connected to who they are, who they are as at a soul level, then even when they're seeing success and beautiful results created by people outside of them, as long as they know that's not how I'm designed to create that kind of result for myself, then they don't have this temptation to now try everything and everything. Okay. So soul relevant is really helping you connect with that, your true self, and really helping you identify the gifts, the uniqueness that you have to bring to the world, and how you can actually bring that to the world around you. Because once you start living based on who you are, it impacts the kind of choices that you make on a day-to-day basis, the kind of people that you're choosing to have around you. It really empowers you so that, first of all, you're no longer entertaining things or people that try to make you into something else. You have deeper awareness of self, right? And also, if you're able to do or have a soul element reading for yourself, you can also have a soul element reading done for your spouse, your children, all of that. Because once you're able now to even understand how they show up in the world, here's another mistake that I see with some of my clients, that you're expecting your child or your spouse to act in a certain way, and maybe that's not even what they were designed to be or who they were designed to be. So once you have a deep awareness of who I am and then who they are, then this whole thing of trying to make someone into something that they're not, then that stops. Okay. And this is the beauty that soul element brings to you. And then you get to actually connect with a particular soul story. So a lot of us are suffering through certain experiences in life, certain circumstances, and attracting certain kind of people, not based on the choices that you're making currently, but based on choices that we made in our past life that God imprinted in our soul blueprint. So we keep attracting the same set of circumstances, the same kind of experiences over and over again because our soul is trying to resolve all the negative karmic experiences. It what is it called? It picked up in based on past life choices. So it's so relevant. It's connecting you to that particular past life, that particular soul story, and helping you identify the circumstances that created that negative karmic part of yourself that you're experiencing right now. If you find yourself constantly attracting the same type of experiences again and again and again, and it's different people, but you're experiencing the same thing over and over again, there's a reason for that. And chances are it's based on who a mistake or choices you made in your past life. So it's so relevant. It's connecting you back to now, right? Bringing awareness to what choices you made then. And chances are you're still repeating the same choices right now, whether consciously or unconsciously. And once you have that awareness now, based on who you are and based on awareness of those are the mistakes I made, going forward now you're empowered not to make the same mistakes and choices again. It takes you or helps you gain your power, gain your take back the control of your life right now, because now going forward you're very intentional with the kind of people and the kind of circumstances that you're entertaining for yourself. You're able to say yes when you need to say yes. You're able to say no when you need to say no, because now you understand or have a deeper sense of awareness of what choices and consequences you get to experience anytime you go against who you were designed to be. So if any of this sounds interesting, oh, and the best part is at the start, after the end of the reading, you get to clear all of this negative karmic experiences energetically at the 5D level. And guess what? Anything that you do at the 5D gets cleared out immediately just by setting the intention. That's gone. Now, the disclaimer I always give with my clients is when it comes to the 3D, which is where you created that karmic pattern and you can only resolve karma in the dimension you created in. So if you created it in this 3D, well, guess what? You're going to have to resolve it here. So now, after the energetic healing you receive from the reading, going forward, based on everything that we will talk about in the soul element reading, right? Now, how you show up in the world and the kind of choices you make going forward determine whether you're going to reestablish the same patterns again, or you're actually going to fully heal and start really connecting to your true essence, your true creation abilities, which is what you actually receive at the end of the soul element reading. If this sounds interesting and you're like, hell yes, let's do this, or maybe you might have more questions for you, I invite you to book a free consultation with me, a discovery call, and we can just see whether the circumstances that you're going through right now will be a perfect fit for this modality in your life. If you're curious about this, do make sure you book a discovery call with me in the description box down below. Okay. So that was the first one. The second modality I do work with is called quantum flow, which is all about rewiring your nervous system. Okay. So what a lot of people don't know is that we suffered so much trauma, so many emotional wounds, all the way from when you were in your mother's womb. Okay. Most people don't know that anything that was happening around their mother when they were in their womb also impacted them, also got imprinted within their nervous system. Okay. And what happens is that once you're growing up, okay, and you encounter the same kind of triggers, guess what? If, for example, and I'm just giving an example, like maybe when your mother had you in the womb, like she was going through certain circumstances where she felt unworthy or unloved or not enough, guess what? You picked up on that and it got recorded within your nervous system. So once you're growing up and you find yourself encountering the same kind of circumstances on the outside that remind you of that trigger, that feeling of being unloved, feeling unworthy, feeling like you're not enough, it keeps on triggering and causing your nervous system, the neurons in your nervous system, keep on firing and rewiring the same way. And before you know it, it creates certain blocks within your nervous system that you call actually, we call them crystals, right? Within your nervous system and your nervous plexus, which actually block the flow of energy within you. And what does that impact? It actually impacts different areas of your life, your physical, your emotional, your mental, your spiritual, your energetic well-being, because energy is not flowing the way it should within your physical being. Okay, it impacts different areas of your life. So it's so relevant. It's really using beautiful techniques, which is actually a combination of um, so many techniques, kinesthetic, qigong, and yoga, so many modalities. Okay, so I'm not gonna name them here, but basically it's using breath work, sound, and movement to help break down these crystals that you formed within your nervous system based on all those triggers, all those traumas, all those emotional wounds that you've picked up all the way from childhood until now. that cause you to keep on reacting in the same way whenever you meet a trigger on the outside. If you've ever found yourself having an overblown reaction to a very small trigger, or what might be considered to be a small trigger, chances are that person triggered an old emotional wound that you're still carrying within your nervous system. So once you actually hack your nervous system, break down these patterns, guess what? It gets the energy flowing again, which impacts different areas of your life. Again, physical, mental, emotional well-being. It, with quantum flow, it's really helping you releasing all those things that have been limiting you on the outside. If it's your thoughts, if it's your emotions that have been keeping you in the low vibration, with quantum flow, you get to switch all of them. Remember, we're not creating anything. Energy cannot be created or destroyed. Energy just is. We're just transforming the low vibrational energies into high vibrational energies and using that to create your future, your desired future going forward. Okay, so if any of this sounds good, maybe you want to have a taste of that, you can check out my free meditation down below in the description box, or go ahead and book a session with me. Or if you still have more questions, connect with me on Facebook or Instagram, or you can book a discovery call and let's see if this is actually a good fit for you. I always recommend with quantum flow. Quantum flow is a lifestyle, okay? So remember that it's taken such a long time for you to build those patterns. It's not going to be broken down in just one session, okay? Gonna take a lot. It's gonna take commitment for you to show up and do this process again. And what I recommend is having different type of practices that you can tap into, which is what I offer with my 8-week quantum flow course. So you get to have me as your coach for the next 8 weeks, where we actually get to work on a particular life area that you want to release. Those limiting patterns that maybe you notice for yourself. So if this sounds good, do again, book a discovery call with me and see if this is going to be a good fit, or connect with me on Facebook or Instagram. And yeah, so hopefully I will get to see you on the other side. And thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and make sure you have an intentional week of growing and evolving, because I definitely want to hear from you what lessons you've learned in this coming new week. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, click on the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any time I go live. Bye for now. See you next Sunday.